Hi, welcome to the Belly Brain Connection. I'm Hannah Winans. I'm a certified functional nutrition counselor, and I'm on a mission to help educate and empower people about the connection between their gut health and their mental well-being. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode number 2. I appreciate you coming back. We'll see. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully these will get better as they go on. Last episode, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about what Belly Brain is. This episode's a little bit more about my why, which I think it's important for you to know because this is a passion project of mine. And I feel like you kind of need to know where I am and coming from my heart on this, and it will help you better understand what the purpose of it is. So with my why, I'll start with personally, for me and my health adventure. I don't want to call it a journey because it sounds arduous, and it has felt more like an adventure because I've done such a deep dive into what's going on in my body. But I grew up in a really health conscious household. Thank you, Mom. I had the mom that would make the yogurt out of goat's milk, and she would sneak us carob Easter bunnies in our baskets instead of the real chocolate ones, and we laugh about it now. As kids, we were slightly horrified, but thank you, Mom, because you set me up to really appreciate and understand good nutrition. So I grew up in a healthy household. I suffer, though, I don't want to say I suffer, I battle with hypothyroidism, and I have for my whole life, basically. And so I was kind of a chubby kid, and it really didn't make sense because we had pretty healthy eating habits. And I always it was kind of obvious that there was something off. So when I was about 15, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and I was put on medication, and it helps. And again, it's not a huge issue, but it's that thing that I've had to live with in my life, where I've always had to really focus on my health, what I'm eating. I feel like I've been on, a diet my entire life, right? Because I was never the kid that could just eat like everybody else. I always had to be very aware of what I was eating, how much I was exercising, which now I'm grateful for because it really set me up with some good habits. But it made things hard. And for anybody who's battled with their weight their entire life, I feel you, I hear you, I know what it feels like. And so I think that's important for you all to know that this is something I work on every day. Belly Brain is it's not a weight loss podcast. That's not what this is about. It's about really understanding your gut health and your overall well-being. But I want people out there listening to understand and know that I've been there. So anyways, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was doing okay. I'd kind of managing my health, managing my weight, pretty healthy diet, working out all the time. I just hit a wall. And so I'm 50. I'll be 51 in January, so I'm 50. So I was about 45, and I hit a wall, and I was at a point where I was exercising 2 hours a day. I was eating a super clean, pretty restrictive diet, and I just was super inflamed, and my gut was a mess. And I'm going to go into a little detail because I think some of you might relate to this, but I was at a point where whatever I ate, within 5 minutes, I felt like I was going to pop. And I knew there was something not going on right with my digestion. And I kind of chalked it up to hormones, but I felt like there's something else going on because, like I said, I had a really healthy diet and things should be working right. Things were not working right. The best analogy I have is I felt like a tick that was like ready to pop. In fact, I would tell my husband, "Oh, I'm in tick mode." And he knew what that meant. That just meant like, I feel like I'm going to blow up. And so I was inflamed. I was achy. I had brain fog. I just knew something was wrong. So I went and met with a naturopath, which I highly recommend. If you can ever do that, do it. It was great. She spent about an hour and a half going over my health history with me. And I thought it was interesting because she really wanted to get into my antibiotic use, even as a child. And as we started talking about it, I realized, even though we were in a healthy household, I had a lot of ear infections. I had my tonsils out. We always had that bottle of pink drink in the fridge, which is that pink antibiotic stuff. It tasted like bubble gum. And I remember we just thought that was like a part of everyday life. And back in those days, they really did prescribe antibiotics for everything, everybody and everything. And knowing what I know now, I realized that even as a kid, not to say that you should never take antibiotics, but now we know that they really can deplete your gut microbiome And then if you are taking antibiotics, you need to rebuild back your microbiome in your gut. So, if we think about the fact that the gut is, I believe the gut is the cornerstone to our health, how important it is to protect and take care of it. So I did some work with my naturopath. Turns out that I had SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And I also had Candida. And those two things combined, I mean, it's just, ugh, I was a mess. So we did the work, and through nutrition, some supplements, I conquered it. We got through it. And I feel so much better. And things are not a mess. I'm not as inflamed. I eat a pretty clean diet. And if I do go off the rails, I can go off the rails for like maybe one day, no more than 2 days. But if I do, now I have the tools. I know how to get my gut right back on track so that things don't snowball on me. And that is huge. So it's not to say that I don't ever eat delicious, stuff I'm not supposed to have. It's just that I know how important my gut health is, and that I'm going to protect it and take care of it when I do. So yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better. I think a lot of people out there are so used to feeling like crap, basically, that you don't know that you can feel better or what it's like to feel good. And I want to tell you that it takes some work, but it is worth it. It is worth it to not feel sluggish and bloated and tired and with brain fog and unmotivated. I mean, I was really at that point. And so now that I understand the connection between how what was going on with my gut was affecting where I was emotionally and mentally, it just all makes sense. So that's the belly part of this. And I hope that maybe inspires you a little bit to know, if you're going through something like that, that there's hope on the other end of it. You got to do the work, but there's hope, and you can do it. There's definitely things you can do to make yourself feel better. Okay, so the brain side of this. A couple of years ago, we had a really horrific mental health tragedy in my family. And it was the kind of tragedy that not only affected our family, but another family, and then a community, and the ripple effect of it is just too hard to talk about. So in that, I had people reaching out to me to offer support to me and my family. And it was shocking, and it broke my heart to realize how many people, when that conversation started, because I think because I had been through it, they felt comfortable sharing with me what they were going through. How many people were also suffering from a mental health disorder in their family. And I just had no idea. It seemed like every other conversation I was having, somebody was telling me about what they were going through. And I just remember thinking, something has to be done, because when you've got a family member or a loved one who's suffering with a mental health disorder, everybody's suffering, and you feel hopeless and you feel helpless. And it's just such a sad place to be. And so when I started uncovering this connection between metabolic health and mental health, I just thought more people need to know this. More people need to know that in conjunction with therapy and medication, good nutrition can absolutely make a difference in these situations. I am not advocating that anybody, not take medication or not be under a doctor's care. That's not what this is about. This is about having a little sense of empowerment with how you treat your body, so that will hopefully also help alongside with the other therapies that people are using. And even if it's just a little bit of anxiety, from what I've researched and heard, having anxiety is something that we all have a little bit of it. But for some people, it seems to kind of feel like it spirals out of control. And I'm learning, and this will be a episode that we do, where I'm learning how much of that is actually directly connected to what our bodies are doing metabolically. So there's a doctor, a health hero that I follow, Dr. Chris Palmer, and he wrote the book Brain Energy. And he's actually, there's people being cured from schizophrenia and psychosis, and through using a ketogenic diet as ketogenic therapy. This is newer well, it's actually old science that's reemerged, and now it's becoming, it's on the forefront of mental health therapy right now. So Dr. Chris Palmer's book, Brain Energy, we're going to cover it. I have a whole stack of books here, but if you have somebody right now, if you have somebody that is really suffering, go get that book. It's amazing, and these stories are incredible. And for me, as a functional nutrition counselor, I don't subscribe to one diet theory. I think there's something that works for each person individually. Some people are keto, some people are carnivore, some people are vegan, some people are vegetarians. I'm not here to necessarily tell you what kind of diet you should be on. I'm here to just kind of help provide information and share what I'm learning about how our body deals with the foods that we eat. So, but the ketogenic diet really, it seems to be a powerful tool these days for helping with severe mental health issues. I actually know somebody personally who's using it for her anxiety, and she 50 years of suffering from anxiety, and it's gone as long as she stays in ketosis. So that's fascinating information, and people need to know this. So that's kind of what this is about. So my why is just basically getting this information out to people, hoping that even if one person, I know it sounds kind of hokey, but if one person or one family is helped by the information that I'm sharing, then all of this is worth it. And I appreciate you being with me and kind of letting me, it's heavy stuff. It's hard to talk about, but from here on out, I'm hoping that these episodes will really be informative, and you'll be able to glean something that you can take with you every time to help improve your life and the lives of the people you love. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you episode 3. We're going to do a little bit of Belly Brain 101, and I've got a book I want to recommend, so I'll talk about that. All right. Thanks. Have a great day.